Hello everybody, this is Paul Adams, and I want to thank you for your comments ahead of time. This particular little video is going to Robert David Steele as a token of thanks. I have learned so much from you, Robert, and a lot of us are grateful to you for your dedication, your tenacity, your unbridled passion, and unveiling the truth at all costs. This is a multi-part video. I want to start off by, first of all, addressing the election. There are so many issues at hand, as you are very well aware. And to me, it seems to me like we have reached the juncture where the election will go to the candidate who will give the republic back to Americans. It's simple as that. Everything else is cosmetic. It's an artifice. We need fundamental, structural, architectural change. And by that I mean we need to give the constituents a republic which is representative of their wishes, and so that requires that the representatives are accountable, that they're held to the task, that there's transparency, and we need to find solutions to arrive at that end. What does that entail? It requires an architecture that is user-friendly. Think cell phones. Everybody uses a cell phone. It requires a forum that is interactive with the representatives, where a constituent can be polled, can be surveyed, and the representative, of course, has to vote accordingly. If he or she does not vote according to his constituents' wishes, then he's not very well representing them, is he? Or is she? Therefore, there has to be some teeth implemented in that forum where a representative can be recalled within 30 days. It's as simple as that. We, the employers of the Republic, require, deserve, and demand such initiatives to be placed in effect because they're necessary and they're proper and they're constitutional, because we, the people, after all, did ordain and establish this Constitution to create a representative republic for the United States of America, not for the United States of Israel. Now, the fact of the matter is, the Constitution clearly indicates in the 9th and 10th Amendments that powers and rights which are not enumerated in the Constitution devolve to the people. This is a no-brainer. You don't have to have a PhD in constitutional law to understand that. So, by virtue of the fact that we, the people, have ordained and established the Constitution, that the Constitution was written at our behest, we require an advanced, upgraded, overhauled representative republic. This is key and paramount. It would require a lot of discussion, and it would require a lot of expertise, blockchain technologies, that will vouchsafe the freedoms of the electorate. Do I make myself clear? Everything else, whether it is election reform, proportional representation, introducing other parties, term limits, publicly funded elections, all of that is cosmetic, in my humble opinion. It is cosmetic because it does not go to the heart of the matter. the crux of the matter, which is representatives who are accountable and who are transparent with their constituents. That's what we need. That's what America needs. Let's face it, folks. Because what is happening now and will happen with other parties when they come into the picture is we will have the same old merry-go-round where representatives represent the special interests. They represent the lobby, the Israeli lobby, the military-industrial complex, the media complex. I think I'm preaching to the choir here, but I realize you have a lot of things you want to unveil in due course. Be that as it may, I'm just giving you the crux of the matter, what is seminal to this election. Any candidate that will not provide a true representative republic, an upgraded America 2.0, does not deserve our vote. Okay? I don't know how much more plain and simply put I can put it. There are many, many other things I could discuss here, but I'm not going to, with regards to the election. Let's talk a little bit here about Trump. As you very well know, I have submitted several versions of the Trump report card. I had been a vociferous proponent of Trump on Twitter. I developed over 250 memes for Twitter consumption. I had the America First Radio podcast, on. And it seems to me like we know now where Trump stands. He gave us all the talking points that the forgotten man and the forgotten women of America needed, wanted to hear. These were well-crafted, well-planned, methodically structured talking points to get people out to vote for him. He was giving us all the baits that we needed to go out there and vote for Trump. Once he got elected, we saw him do a 180. Well, first of all, he started saying that we should all thank Hillary Clinton for her service to the nation. That's on record. He said that he was not going to go after Hillary because she had suffered enough during the election. He also said that the Clintons are good people. What more do you need to know? So, once you have a president that is taking that stand, you can bet your bottom dollar he is not going to go after the Clintons. Jeff Sessions was brought into this picture by design to let the Clintons skate, to indemnify the Clintons. The whole Russiagate kabuki theater, with Trump's complicity, I might add, was put together to indemnify the Clintons and Israel also in its collusion in this last election. We can discuss side group, we can discuss other machinations that were in place to ensure that Adelson's horse won the race. Okay, and you know who Adelson is. We're talking about Sheldon Adelson here. We sat with Trump during the midterms to watch the results in the White House. He sat with him. You don't have to connect too many dots here to understand that Trump did a 180, that this Mueller investigation, this Russiagate, pro wrestling, kabuki theater, was enacted at the highest levels to ensure that the Clintons skated and that Israel skated. Now, the fact that we have no indictments on the Clintons, on Comey, on all the other miscreants that were part of this plot should tell you something. The fact that Mueller and Barr were long-time associates, that Mueller helped cover up 9/11, essentially should tell you something. The fact that now Trump talks about seeing thousands of Palestinians on the New Jersey side cheering on 9/11 should tell you something. That never happened. He has flip-flopped on the 9/11 investigation. He has flip-flopped on the Clinton indictments. All you have to know is that James Comey, when he gave his soliloquy about the findings of his investigation, he said that Hillary was exceedingly careless, but not negligent. Okay, that's the key word here, careless. So she gets to skate. Okay, the fact that Trump has now been in bed with the Zionists from day one, he had been upheld and funded by the Trump Victory Fund, which was all Zionist capital coming in. The fact that you have Kushner, Mnuchin, Greenblatt, Friedman, and others in his inner circle. The fact that you have Pompeo, who says that God sent Trump to save the Jews. The fact that you have this Ziocon Bolton in his inner circle, who is a defender of Israel for life, should tell you something. I mean, it's as plain as the sky is blue. It's not like they just popped out of nowhere into his inner circle. He made that decision for them to be there. Just like he made the decision for Kelly, McMaster, and Mattis to be there. He went through the resumes, their CV, he consulted with Netanyahu, with Kushner, and they were appointed. Now, the fact that you also have Dan Neuberger now heading the NSA cybersecurity, she's a Zionist, that's a big red flag, should tell you something. They don't just sprout out of nowhere like mushrooms on a lawn, okay? These are people who are selected, carefully vetted, and appointed. Now, I strongly recommend a Cynthia, McKinney, Robert David Steele ticket. For the reasons that I've given in the past, we need a woman of color to break the glass ceiling with a man of superb character, impeccable credentials, a stellar acumen like yourself to become a vice president to such a woman. You are probably one of the few people that I know of anyway who has a complete 360 of all the issues and what needs to be done. Okay, I know you have a ton of initiatives that you want to implement, and this will take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Don't mislead the public by telling them we can all do it on the first go-around, the first term. Break it down so that we're going to attack this objective that objective and this third objective in the first term and then move on from there. But again, the rallying cry should be a representative republic. I cannot stress this enough. I cannot pile drive it any more than I can. It's the all and be all. It is the Holy Grail. It is what the Founding Fathers envisioned when they laid out the Constitution. That's what they were looking for. But now it needs to be upgraded. Okay? Enough said. Let me just digress a little bit here. I just bumped into, by accident, into a couple of videos which give us a better understanding of the historicity of Zionism, its roots. The Jewish people are divided along two groups. You have the Orthodox Jews and you have the Zionists, who are all about creating the state of Israel. This has been going on for a very long time. The Jews who had suffered at the hands of Russians were expelled from Russia, or they fled Russia and ended up in Germany in the early 1900s. They were welcomed with open arms in Germany. They settled, they thrived, and they decided that they wanted their homeland in Palestine. In order to get that homeland in Palestine, they made a deal with the British. In World War I, they told them, we can have you win the war against the Germans if you will promise us Palestine. And the way we're going to help you win the war is we're going to bring the United States into the war. So they brought the United States into the war, and then, because the war had no end in sight at the time, they wanted some kind of a guarantee that they would be given in exchange as a quid pro quo Palestine as their homeland. And so we have the Balfour Declaration written up by Rothschild. That's where it all started. Now, when Hitler came along, he was a nationalist. I'm condensing all this now, okay? These are important facts that we should all be learning about in order to reconstruct our matrix, our reality, okay? Or deconstruct it and reinvent a new one. When Hitler came into power, he was going nowhere, so somebody advised them, you better team up, align with the Zionists, not the Orthodox Jews, but the Zionists. And they called this party the Nazi Party, and it stands for NA, the National Party of Germany, and ZI for Zionists. That's how you get Nazi. This is where the word Nazi comes from, folks. I just learned that yesterday. So what happened? There was still this schism, this rift between the Orthodox Jews and the Zionist Jews. As the war progressed, historians now discovered that it was the Zionist Jews who interred in encampments, concentration camps, the Orthodox Jews. Now that is bewildering, okay? It's astounding. It's out there, but this is what's being documented, and I would encourage you to do some more research on this. I'm going to leave the links to the two videos that I was looking at, so you can get a handle on what the substance of this matter is. So this is how we have this ongoing theme of locating the Jews in Palestine. In fact, Hitler relocated some Jews to Palestine. He funded their relocation. Okay, that aside, when we talk about the word Israel, this is something else that the whole world needs to understand. When we talk about the word Israel, we're not talking just about Jews that came from the tribe of Judah. Okay? The tribes of Israel were in Egypt. There were 12 tribes, starting with Reuben, going all the way down to Benjamin, the youngest. And they also had a sister called Dinah. Those were the 12 tribes of Israel. They left Egypt, they settled in Canaan, they split up into two kingdoms over a period of time. The Jewish nation was left on its own. The other tribes formed another nation. Eventually there was the diaspora. The 11 tribes were scattered around the world. Now, it's not as if they evaporated. They were extinguished into thin air. Those 11 tribes are still alive and well today. You could be one of those 11 tribes of Israel. So, when the Jews, listen, when the Jews, and I'm not referring just to the true Torah Jews, I'm also talking about the Khazarian Jews, those who adopted Judaism back in the earlier days. When the Jews talk about Israel, they never mention the other tribes. It's a bit like you having a family with 10 siblings, and you never mention the other 9 siblings of your family. You only talk about yourself, what your posterity needs to have, what your wishes are, what you want to accomplish, but you never talk about the rest of the family out there that makes up a good portion of the world, and that's bad. That is bad karma. Okay? That's where I'm going to leave it for now. Robert, you have my respect, my admiration, and I pray to God that by some miracle, Cynthia and you will be running in this race. I think it will be a phenomenal race because you will totally flip the pyramid on its head. You will put the people at the top and the elite at the bottom. The elite will be at the service of the people. I know that's what's going to happen. All right, may God bless you and Cynthia and all those you associate with.